He froze because no one in the world was supposed to know about that tattoo. Yet a young waitress looked straight at him and said, "Sir, my mother has a tattoo just like yours." In that moment, the billionaire's heart shattered, because only one person ever shared that tattoo with him. Leah, the woman he loved more than life itself, the woman who vanished 22 years ago. He thought she was gone forever. He thought he'd lost her to fate. But now her daughter, this waitress, was standing in front of him unknowingly, holding the key to the biggest truth of his life. And when her phone rang and she whispered, "My mom collapsed, she's in the hospital," the billionaire made a choice that changed everything. He stood up, grabbed his coat, and said, "Let's go. I'm driving." What happened next will leave you speechless, because destiny was finally bringing together a family that was never meant to be separated. Welcome to our channel, where every story is packed with emotion, suspense, and life-changing lessons. If you love powerful human stories, gripping twists, and unforgettable endings, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, sit back, and let's dive into today's story. The billionaire froze the moment he heard the words, because no one was supposed to know about that tattoo. Ethan Ward was a man people rarely approached casually. He had the kind of presence that made entire boardrooms fall silent, the kind of reputation that made newspapers chase him and business rivals fear him. A billionaire, yes, but a quiet one. A man who rarely appeared in the public eye, preferring simple routines that reminded him of a life he once dreamed of before money and power changed everything. That afternoon, the sky was swollen with heavy gray clouds as rain came down in soft sheets. Ethan had been driving alone, trying to escape the noise of meetings, negotiations, and constant demands. His mind was tired, his heart even more so. So when he noticed a small diner on the side of the road, its lights warm, its windows foggy, something inside him urged him to stop. He stepped in, brushing raindrops off his coat. The diner was modest, with mismatched chairs, a buzzing ceiling fan, and the inviting smell of fresh coffee. People chatted quietly, the atmosphere soft, almost comforting. It was the kind of place where no one cared about billions or fame, a place where he could breathe. He slipped into a booth and stared out the window, watching raindrops race each other down the glass. For a moment, he felt peaceful. Then she approached. A young waitress, no older than her early 20s, walked toward him with a nervous smile. She held a notepad close to her chest, her fingers trembling slightly. Something about her eyes caught his attention. They were bright, alert, yet held a softness he couldn't explain. "Good afternoon, sir," she said. "What can I get you?" "Just a black coffee," he replied quietly. She nodded, then hesitated. As she placed the menu on the table, her eyes widened. Her gaze wasn't on his face. It was downward, toward his wrist. Ethan instinctively pulled back his hand, but it was too late. The edge of his watch had shifted slightly, revealing something he had kept hidden for over 20 years, a tiny crescent moon with a star. A tattoo that only one person in his life ever shared with him. The girl swallowed, stared a little longer, then said something that made the entire world around him stop. "Hi, sir. My mother has a tattoo just like yours." Ethan's breath caught in his chest. His fingers tightened around the menu. The simple diner noises, forks clinking, people chatting, the buzzing ceiling fan, all faded into silence. His tattoo was not common. It wasn't a design someone would just casually get. It was a symbol, a secret promise made between him and Leah, the woman he had loved more than life itself. Leah, the woman who disappeared 22 years ago without leaving a trace. The woman whose absence had carved a hole in his heart that never healed. The woman he had quietly, secretly spent millions trying to find, only for every trail to go cold. And now, a waitress in a small roadside diner was telling him her mother had that same tattoo. Ethan forced himself to speak. His voice came out low and unsteady. "What did you say your mother's name is?" The girl looked surprised by his sudden intensity, but she answered softly. "Her name is Leah. Leah Dawson." The spoon slipped from his hand and clattered onto the table. His pulse quickened, his breath grew shallow, his mind raced. It was her. It had to be her. He leaned back in his seat, trying to steady himself. 1,000 memories flooded in. Leah's laughter, the nights they spent under the stars, the moment they both got the matching tattoos and promised each other forever. And then the heartbreak, her sudden disappearance, her goodbye note that made no sense, the unanswered questions. He had blamed himself for years. He had wondered if she stopped loving him, if he did something wrong. But now? The waitress, Lily, shifted nervously. "Sir, are you okay?" Ethan met her eyes. Up close, her features struck him. The curve of her jaw, the shape of her eyebrows, the way her eyes softened when she spoke, familiar, painfully familiar. He swallowed hard. "You look like someone I used to know," he whispered. Lily's eyebrows furrowed, but she continued speaking, lowering her voice as if sharing a secret. "My mom always told me that the tattoo was a memory she could never let go of. She said it belonged to a man she loved, a man she lost because of a mistake she still regrets." His hands trembled. Tears stung the back of his eyes, something that hadn't happened in years. He whispered, "She never forgot." "No," Lily said gently. "She said she never could." For a long moment, Ethan couldn't speak. The diner felt suddenly too small, too loud, too full of memories. Before he could ask more, before he could demand to know everything, Lily's phone rang loudly. She answered, listened for a few seconds, and her face drained of color. "My mom," she said in a shaking voice. "She's collapsed. She's been taken to the hospital." Ethan stood so abruptly that his chair scraped against the floor. His heart pounded violently in his chest. Not now. Not right after he found her again. Fate couldn't be this cruel. "Which hospital?" he asked sharply. Lily stammered the name through her tears. Ethan grabbed his coat, his voice firm, urgent, leaving no room for argument. "Let's go," he said. "I'll drive." Lily blinked at him, confused. "But sir, you don't even know us." He turned to her with eyes full of a truth he had been carrying for over 20 years. "I know enough," he said quietly. "Now hurry, we don't have time." And in that instant, on that stormy afternoon in a forgotten diner, Ethan Ward's entire life changed forever. Ethan did not remember walking out of the diner. Everything happened too fast, as if his body moved on instinct. Rain hammered the pavement, puddles splashing under his shoes, but he barely felt anything. His mind was spinning with only one thought. Leah. She's alive, and she needs help. Lily hurried behind him, clutching her phone, trying to keep up with his long, determined strides. "Sir, please, slow down. I have to call my aunt. She's with my mother at the hospital." "You can call her in the car," Ethan said sharply, opening the passenger door of his black SUV. Lily hesitated. She didn't know this man. She didn't know who he really was. But something in his eyes, fear, urgency, deep concern, made her trust him. She climbed in, still trembling. Before she could buckle her seatbelt, Ethan accelerated smoothly but quickly, pulling out onto the wet road. His jaw was clenched, his knuckles white around the steering wheel. Lily swallowed hard. "Sir, you don't have to do this. I don't want to trouble anyone." "You're not troubling me," Ethan said quietly. His voice was calm, but underneath it, she could hear a storm of emotions. They drove in silence for a moment, rain pounding on the windshield like frantic fingers. Ethan finally asked, "Has your mother been sick?" "Not exactly. She works too much. 2 jobs, sometimes 3. She barely sleeps. She always tells me she's fine, but I know she's been getting weaker." Ethan's grip tightened. Leah always did that, put everyone else first, even if it destroyed her. Lily continued, wiping tears from her eyes. "She has anxiety. She stresses easily. And lately, she's been more emotional. I think remembering her past is hurting her." "Her past?" Ethan asked softly. Lily nodded. "She said sometimes the memories hit her so hard that she can't breathe. She said she made a mistake that ruined everything, a mistake she can't fix." A sharp pain shot through Ethan's chest. What mistake did she mean? "I don't know," Lily whispered. "She never told me. She always said, 'Some stories are too painful to repeat.'" Ethan gave a bitter smile. He knew exactly what she meant. For nearly 22 years, he had been haunted by one day. The day Leah vanished. No goodbye, no explanation, just a note that felt too cold to be real, too forced to be her words. He had read it hundreds of times, feeling the pain of each sentence, and now Lily was telling him that Leah had never healed either. "Did your mother ever mention the man she left?" Ethan finally forced himself to ask. Lily nodded slowly. "Yes, she talked about him a lot when I was younger. She told me he was the kindest man she had ever known. She said he loved her more deeply than anyone else." Ethan felt his throat tighten. "She also said leaving him was the only way to protect him," Lily added softly. Ethan's heart stopped. Protect him? Protect him? That makes no sense, unless— "You mean someone forced her?" he asked quietly. Lily looked confused. "Forced? What do you mean?" Ethan inhaled deeply, the painful memory resurfacing. "Back then, I had a business rival, a man who wanted to destroy me. He threatened my company, my family, everything I had, but I didn't know that he had reached out to Leah." Lily's eyes widened. What did he do?" "He convinced her," Ethan said hollowly, "that being with me would cost me everything, that she was a weakness he could use. And she believed him." Lily leaned back, shocked. "Are you saying she left because she thought she was protecting you?" "She thought disappearing was the only way to keep me safe," Ethan said, voice heavy with regret. "But she didn't understand that losing her was the worst pain I could ever experience." For a moment, the car was silent except for the rain. Lily stared at him, realization slowly dawning. "Sir, you speak like you knew her, like she meant something to you." Ethan smiled sadly. "She wasn't just someone to me, she was my everything." Lily's breath caught. "Then you must be—" She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. His silence was enough. She whispered, almost in disbelief, "You're the man she never stopped talking about." Ethan swallowed hard. His eyes burned. "She never forgot me?" he asked in a trembling voice. Lily shook her head. "Never. She said she loved him, loved you, more than life itself. She said the biggest regret of her life was walking away." Ethan closed his eyes, grief and relief flooding him at the same time. The hospital came into view, a tall gray building with bright emergency lights cutting through the rain. Ethan parked, and the two rushed inside. Lily guided him through the hallways, her steps quick and shaky. A doctor approached them immediately. "Are you the family of Miss Leah Dawson?" he asked. Lily nodded anxiously. The doctor sighed, holding a clipboard. "She collapsed due to severe exhaustion and stress. She's stable now, but emotionally she's very fragile. She needs rest, less pressure, and support." Lily let out a breath of relief. "Can we see her?" "Yes, but only one at a time," the doctor said. Ethan stepped back. "You go first." Lily shook her head. "No, you clearly know her. She'll want to see you." He almost protested, but his heart needed this. He walked down the hallway, feeling like his legs were made of sand. He stood at her door for a moment, afraid. Afraid of what she might say. Afraid of what he would feel. Finally, he pushed the door open quietly. Leah lay in the bed, pale but still beautiful, even after all these years. Her hair was shorter, her face thinner, but her presence, gentle, warm, familiar, hit him like a punch. Her eyes fluttered open. She squinted, froze, then gasped. "Ethan?" she whispered, voice cracking. He stepped closer, his voice breaking. "Leah, you should have told me. I never stopped searching for you." Tears spilled down her cheeks instantly. "I thought disappearing was the only way to protect you," she whispered, never wanting to hurt you. Ethan reached out and gently held her trembling hand. "You didn't protect me," he said softly. She sobbed, squeezing his hand tighter. "I'm so sorry. Ethan, I never stopped loving you." And for the first time in 22 years, Ethan finally felt whole again. For several long seconds, Ethan simply held Leah's hand, unable to speak. The hospital room was quiet except for the faint beeping of the heart monitor and the sound of soft rain tapping the window. It felt unreal to be here, to see her again after 22 long years, to feel her fingers curled around his like they used to when they were young and fearless. Leah wiped her tears with her free hand, trying to steady her breathing. She looked older, a little worn, but still carried the same warmth in her eyes, soft, gentle, and filled with a love she had spent decades holding back. "I never thought I'd see you again," she whispered. Ethan swallowed hard. "I never stopped looking." Leah's face crumpled. A cry escaped her lips, not of pain, but of deep, overwhelming emotion. He quickly placed a hand on her shoulder, trying to calm her. "Hey, it's okay," he whispered. "I'm here now. You're okay." She nodded, sobbing quietly as she tried to compose herself. Just then Lily stepped into the room, hesitant at first. She wasn't sure if she should interrupt. But Leah saw her and reached out with trembling fingers. "Come here, sweetheart." Lily walked over and gently hugged her mother. When she pulled back, she looked at Ethan with wide, emotional eyes. "Mom, is he really—" Leah nodded slowly. Her voice shook. Yes, Lily, he's the man I told you about. The one I left. The one I never stopped loving. Ethan's eyes softened as they met Lily's. He felt his heart twist. This girl, standing here with tears in her eyes, was his daughter, his child, flesh and blood, a piece of the woman he loved and the life he lost. He took a deep breath. Lily, may I ask you something? Yes, she said softly. How old are you? 21. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment, absorbing the number. 21 years. 21 birthdays he missed. 21 moments he could never get back. When he opened his eyes, they were filled with emotions he could barely control. Leah, he said quietly, turning back to her, why didn't you tell me about her? Why didn't you let me be part of her life? Leah looked away, shame covering her features. Because I thought if I stayed, he would use her against you too. Her voice trembled. I couldn't risk her safety. I had to choose between giving you a future or being with you. And I chose wrong. I know I did. Ethan reached out and cupped her face gently. You didn't choose wrong. You chose with love, and I can't hate you for that. Leah cried again, silently this time. Lily stepped closer. Mom, you don't have to hide anymore. Ethan looked between the two women, feeling something shift inside him. For the first time in decades, he wasn't alone. He wasn't carrying the pain by himself. He cleared his throat and turned to Lily. Can I hug you? Lily froze. Then she nodded. Ethan stood and gently wrapped his arms around her. She hugged him back, and in that moment, one single powerful moment, they both felt something they had lived without for years. A father's embrace, a daughter's warmth, a connection that had been stolen from them, but refused to die. When they parted, Lily wiped her eyes. I feel like I've known you my whole life, she whispered. You have, Ethan said softly. You just didn't know it. Leah watched them with trembling lips, overwhelmed by the sight. Ethan returned to her bedside and sat down again. What happens now? Leah asked in a shaky voice. You have an entire empire to run. A life. You don't need us complicating anything. Complicating? Ethan repeated, almost offended. You think you complicate my life? He gently took both Leah's hands in his. You're the part of my life I lost. The part I've been searching for. There is nothing complicated about wanting your family. Family? Leah's eyes widened. Yes, Ethan nodded firmly. My family. Lily gasped softly. Ethan continued. From today forward, I want to be in your lives, not out of guilt, not out of pity, but because I love you both, because I should have been here all along. But your world is so different. I'm just a waitress. Lily works part-time and studies. We don't... Ethan stopped her gently. You don't have to be anything. You don't owe me status or titles. I want you exactly as you are. For the first time, Leah smiled. Small, fragile, but real. And what about us? She asked quietly. Ethan's expression softened deeply. He lifted her hand and kissed it slowly. I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second in 22 years. If you'll let me, I want us to start again. Leah covered her mouth as tears streamed down her cheeks. Lily sniffled behind them. You mean it? Leah whispered. With all my heart, Ethan said. But you need to rest. You need to heal. Your health comes first. Lily nodded. I'll help her, sir. Ethan turned to her gently. You can call me Ethan, or whatever you're comfortable with. Lily smiled shyly. Ethan for now. Maybe Dad later. Ethan laughed softly, tears gathering in his eyes. I'll wait as long as you need." After the nurse checked in and reassured them that Leah could go home in a day or two, Ethan helped Lily gather Leah's belongings. He promised to arrange everything: transportation, medical checkups, even a new home if they wanted it. But Leah grabbed his hand. "I don't need a mansion. I just need you." Ethan leaned in and kissed her forehead gently. "And you have me. Forever this time." As they walked out of the hospital room together, Leah supported by Ethan on one side and Lily on the other, the rain outside began to fade. Thin rays of sunlight broke through the clouds, casting a warm glow through the hallway windows. It felt symbolic. It felt like the universe itself was finally blessing what had been broken for too long. They stepped outside, the air fresh and cool. Ethan looked at them, Leah and Lily, and felt something he had forgotten how to feel. Home. Not a mansion, not wealth, not power. Just this moment. Just this family. Just this long-awaited reunion that fate had delayed, but love had saved. "Let's go," Ethan said softly. "A new life starts today."